As far as the names I'm paying attention to let's get started. I have a list, a long list of names to go through. I'm not going to just do a deep dive on each of them. I just want to bring it to your attention. I'll give you the levels. You do your due diligence, and the ones that I love from this list, I'll filter it down, and I will put in the Discord for our team to capitalize off of. So let's go through this list quickly. Again, guys, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you have any questions, any chart requests. I will take on some chart requests as soon as we go over these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, right? 23 names. There's 23 names that I'm paying attention to, right? So we're going to try to cover these 23 names in the next 5 to 8 minutes. All right, we're going to go through it fast, speed round. So again, make sure to like the video. If you do find this informational, if you do find this valuable, if you want me to continue to go live on Saturday to give you all the information you need to prepare yourself for the upcoming week, capitalize on those opportunities, the way you're going to show that is by liking, by sharing. So let's jump right into it. First name is Alibaba. We're going to go in alphabetical order, right? So Alibaba, not Alibaba, Amazon. Amazon all-time highs, 240, 252, 240, 252. We can see Amazon is coming to the support territory, right? We previously bounced off this territory. So if the market gets a nice little bounce off those lows, we can see Amazon has bounced here before, bounced here again, right? So bounced again. We see Amazon is at this demand, at the support territory. Nice little zone, but you're going to have to kind of filter out what your entry is going to be. If we take out these lows here, these lows that came in on Friday, not this Friday, but the one before that, if we can get below 210, right, grab 210, reclaim 210, we can see a nice little push to the upside as we're trading in this bearish channel. We have that nice little trend to the downside, lower lows, lower highs. See if this leads us for a nice little bounce back to the upside off of the zone, and then we start climbing back those highs and potentially give this channel a test for its money, a nice little run for its money. So again, pay attention to this zone on Amazon. It's a fairly wide zone, but nonetheless, it is a zone between 207.33 to 11.72. That's the primary thing you want to pay attention to on Amazon. If the market continues to slide to the downside, we fall below that 50 EMA on the daily. Amazon shows continued weakness. You can use it as a retrace reject. If this flips, if we can flip this, that turns into resistance, and let the trend lead you into those lows. Retrace reject off of this and see if you can get that into lower lows. Next name is SoFi. I like how SoFi is coming to this 25 territory. We previously came into this 25. We already swung trade SoFi. We capitalized off it. So if it comes into this territory once again, I'm looking to get active. There's a couple of things I want to take a look at before making the decision. Of course, SoFi can maybe drop into this 23.75, but I'm really interested in this 25 territory. So pay close attention to between 24.92, 25.34 on SoFi. 24.92, 25.34 on SoFi. Previous highs, we've seen us get above, below it previously. Made a nice push above it. We bounced off it, continued to push, made all-time highs, got above 30 temporarily, sold off, bounced. That's when we took our last swing on SoFi. Sold off, came into it, bounced again, came into it, bounced again. So again, SoFi, I'm paying attention to that territory for a nice little bounce off of the zone. If we were struck, if the integrity holds, if we do continue to push, guys, we'll look for a nice structural move above that 27, 20, 26, 26.50, 27. But ideally, I want us to pull back slightly, right? Pull back slightly, come back in, and then I want to get off those lows. I want to get it off support for those swings, because those entries, the better the entry, right, the quicker our path to profits are on those swings. The last two swings, they absolutely worked out beautifully. So again, the third one, we want to do the same thing and take advantage of the one that presents the best opportunity. So pay attention to that 25. If SoFi rips and run continues to push the upside, I'm fine with that. Let it do what it needs to do. If it doesn't come into my entry territory, that's fine. Let it do what it needs to do. Next name. We know Tesla's reported earnings, so Tesla's not tradable for me this week. But Tesla, during earnings, we want to pay attention to 488.54. That's at all-time high. We can see Tesla is trading above this zone here. We previously struggled to get above it. We broke out, nice little breakout above 373. And now Tesla, interestingly, is trading above 373 and is trading and bouncing off this 404, 405 territory. 404, 405 territory is going to be that support on Tesla. So let's see if we can use that 405 territory, right? 405 as support, continue to push. And when we drop down to the hourly, guys, this is a 4-hour time frame for those swings. We can see a potential break on Tesla. We can see a potential breakout on Tesla, right? Again, we are some major resistance here on the hourly. So let's see how we interact with this. So Tesla is on watch for that breakout. above this territory, above that 440. If we reject off and coming into it, of course, we're trading it as resistance, but I would not trade Tesla. Why? IV is going to be elevated. Why? Because we have earnings for Tesla. So 440, pay close attention to 440. I want to see how we can get how we interact with 440. We might see a nice little breakout push into all-time highs, or we might see a nice little direction off that 440, push back to 405. If Tesla can come back into 405, that's a nice little bounce, right? If it didn't have earnings, that's a nice little grab off support. So it's either you grab it off support, right? If we didn't have earnings on Tesla, or you take that breakout retest of that 4040 territory, previous resistance in that territory. So really, really interesting to see what does to play out on Tesla as it works its way back into that 488.54. Next name on the list, Oracle. So interesting enough, Oracle did have that massive gap up. That was because of earnings. Nice little push the upside. We never came back and tested these highs. Those previous all-time highs between 255.93, 260, 255.93, 260. Those are levels I'll pay attention to. They might take a while to really come to fruition. But what we're seeing right now on Oracle is a nice little breakdown. We did get a nice little push to the upside. We're starting to break down. So does Oracle have enough fuel to really seek these lows, get into that 265, get into these lows? So let's see if we get some follow through after this break of this channel as we pursue these lows all the way down here in this pre-earnings pump, right? That massive earnings candle that we did see on Oracle, right? We're still in the jaws of that massive earnings candle. Just take a look at that massive candle. It did reach it to 345 and it got as low as that 225. So massive candle there on Oracle. We're still trying to work our way out of, but we did see a nice little breakdown on Oracle. Let's see if there's another push to the downside with the weakness after breaking out of that channel to the downside, or breaking down to that channel to the downside. Next name was Nvidia. Same thing with Nvidia. Nvidia, nice little channel break. Nvidia's coming back to retest the initial break. So Nvidia can go either way. If we drop down to the hourly time frame, this level is going to be critical. This zone is going to be critical for retrace reject, or a reclaim push back the upside. So let's see if you're bullish. See if Nvidia can get above that 185. See if you get above 185. Hold above 185. Continue to push the upside. If not, if you're bearish, see if Nvidia rejects off that zone and continues to push the downside and starts to seek that 176, 175 territory. Again, for me to be bullish on Nvidia, I want a nice strong hold above 185 for us to clear and reclaim this channel as we continue to push and take out these highs that are right there. So that's Nvidia right there. Nvidia, how far is it from all-time highs? Right, it's still relatively close to all-time highs, about $13 away from all-time highs. So this zone will be very, very critical. Right, either we retrace reject, which just simply means, right, we come into it, say the market shows weakness, we drop, right, or we get above 185, we hold, continue to push, and the market rallies to the upside. Semiconductors rally to the upside. So interesting to see what does take place on Nvidia, and I do see the unicorn on Nvidia as well. More of a technical pattern for my technicians. You can see the unicorn, right? You can see it took out these lows, Thursday's lows, took those out. See if you can hold above that 183.36 territory. Again, we need to get above that 185 to really be in the clear. For us to be in the clear, let's get above that 185. But great job on identifying that unicorn there. So let's keep moving here. MP, rare earth material name here, right? Textbooks. Test of that resistance. So MP, again, between 77.42, 80.29. 77.42, 80.29. Pay attention to those levels. Again, do your due diligence. By no means am I telling you to buy at those levels. I'm just bringing it to your attention. I'm just telling you MP's at a territory where it previously had a hard time getting above. I broke above it. Now it's there again. It's retesting it. So see if there's an opportunity there you can take advantage of. On top of that, we have a nice little downward compression that's forming somewhat of a pennant pattern there, right? See if you can kind of just clean this up a little bit, make that the resistance, right? You can see clearly what's going on right there. Again, when you're buying, if you can buy it off support, that'd be great. See if that 80 psychological level can hold. 80 psychological level, right, plays beautifully into MP. So MP is in this critical area, critical zone. We previously struggled to get above it. Now, I want MP to hold above 80, and we can see a nice little recovery bounce on MP to the upside. So pay attention to MP if we can see some sort of technical combinations in this territory for us to push the upside. Again, rare earth material name here. We know how rare earth materials are in the lexicon of all traders, and the tariff tensions between U.S. and China, right, have to do with a lot of the rare earth materials. And when you think of rare earth materials, guys, everything that has to do with AI, everything that has to do with technology is backed by rare earth materials, right? Those rare earth materials are the backbone of data centers. Those rare earth materials, they're what's needed to build this technology. So MP is an American name. Technical bounce, MP all-time high is 105. We're currently at 80. If we just do a quick retracement, okay, we can see we're down about 24%. Okay, nice little pullback on MP. See, there's a nice little opportunity there on MP. Again, do your due diligence on that name. It's at that support zone. Next name is Disney. So Disney's the next name. Again, Disney, we did see Disney continue to sell off. It's in this territory here, relatively wide. Overall, I'm paying attention to this channel. There's nothing that I love. Disney's not a name that I love, but Disney is, nonetheless, is showing us the technical pattern, showing us a nice little technical pattern that we can potentially take advantage of. We can see Disney with that nice little run up, right? Made a nice little run up here, right? Once it made that run up, it's coming back into this territory, which happens to be support of a channel support, as well as a support of that that support of that channel and the support of the zone here. Those two things lining up between 106.17, 108.86, 106.17, 108.86. See if Disney can kind of have that downward compression as well. So it's almost like a flag on Disney as well intraday. If you can see it, nice run up, accumulate for multiple weeks. See if that can continue to push the upside. If we even laser in, we can see more structure on Disney. Potentially push here, right? Maybe get above that 110 psychological level, hold above the 110 psychological level. Ideally, I want to get it off support, right? For those swings, again, these are swing ideas. You want to get it off support, right? Off support, you want to get it off support to have that healthy entry. Again, if we break below this level, guys, if support fails, right? If support fails, we know we have a massive runway to the downside. So what we're betting on is buyers protect Disney off of the zone, and we'll see what does take place there. And you have to take a look at Disney on a higher time frame. Next name is Boeing. So similar thing with Boeing. Again, Boeing needs to sell off a little bit more. Again, it does have that nice little channel, similar to Disney, downward compression, right? It does have that nice little bearish channel. But if Boeing can come into this territory as it continues to sell off, 192.67, 198.17, that can be a nice little opportunity. So that means if you're short on Boeing, technically there's room for us to continue to trade in this channel, right? For us to trade in this channel as we push into here. Okay, there's room for us to continue to push down as we push into there, unless we break this resistance. Once we break this resistance, right, different ball game, right? So we're gonna trust the integrity of this channel to prove otherwise. If it wants to continue to push, if it comes into support, there's an opportunity there. So Boeing between 192.67, 196.17. That might take a couple of weeks to really play out. Just mark those levels out, have your alerts ready. We can see the technical pattern there and beautiful resistance. We get above it, bounce off, we'll come back into it, so pay attention to that. Adobe, this Adobe idea is a leap idea, potential leap idea on Adobe. Adobe has been hammered, so I might take a look at Adobe on the higher time frame. We'll take a look at Adobe again for a potential leap idea. Let's jump over to the 12-hour. Right, we can see Adobe is trading at these 2023 lows, right? Multiple touches off of it. We bounce aggressively, and now Adobe is right there as well in that territory. It's oversold on the RSI. We're seeing some divergence on the higher time frame on that daily. Again, Adobe, see if Adobe can get its act together and treat this area, right? Treat this area between that 318 and that 330, right? It's kind of wide territory, right? But ideally, see if we can go into that 330. Right, 330 psychological level on Adobe. See if that can hold. See if that 330 psychological level can hold. Right, we've previously been here before. We had pretty aggressive reactions off of it on the 12-hour, and pay attention to Adobe off of that 330 psychological level. Next name is also a leap idea. So Adobe leap idea. Okay, put it through your technicals. Webull. That's another idea here. You want to pay close attention to. Webull, we can see, I thought I had the technicals drawn out. Right, Webull, I like that at that 10. 10. Why do I like it at that 10? We know Webull is a platform. Nice little zone at this 10. On Webull, see if you can continue to push. Come with that 10 psychological level. That can present a nice little dip buy on Webull. And Webull, that's probably a leap idea between 1050 and 950. Between 1050 and 950, Webull, pay close attention to Webull between 1050 950. Do your fundamental due diligence, do your analysis, see if there's anything there for you to capitalize off of. But I do like Webull off that 950 and that 10 psychological level for potential leap idea. And we know Webull does push all the way. All-time highs on Webull are 79. Okay, all-time high on Webull is 79. We previously came into this territory. We can see what kind of reaction that we had. We did bounce aggressively. We're coming back into it now. So let's see if we can take out this 1050, break below 1050, get close to that 10, maybe dip into 9, and you can use all-time lows on Webull, which is 955, as your risk. Okay, just know what your risk is when you are making these entries. Next name is Duolingo. So Duolingo, right? Ticker symbol DUOL. Right, again, another technical pattern. We did see Duolingo bounce off this territory previously, which is that 258.63, 269.91, relatively wide area, but it did respect that 270 psychological level. So let's draw that 270 psychological level. But what I'm seeing here is, guys, respect of that 270, and I'm seeing this nice little channel breakdown. So channel breakdown is just going to be a nice little retest. Retest fails, and then it continues to push the downside and has multiple legs for it to get back to 270. So Duolingo, pay close attention to that. Why do I like this breakdown of that channel there? Because of this initial move to the downside. So this initial leg that we saw to the downside is what encourages me that we can continue to push to the downside after breaking this channel support. So we Duolingo, pay attention to Duolingo. See if you can get some weakness there, some shorts there for Duolingo. Just find your area to engage. Put it through your blender again. This is by no means this is financial advice. I'm just bringing these ideas to the table, to the forefront. Right, there's a bunch of names we're covering, but Duolingo, pay attention to that. If you're looking to go long, 270 is technically sound, between 270 and 255. Right, pay attention to that territory. But we can see this nice little technical channel being broken. There's potential retest. After we retest and we start pushing to the downside, get below that 315, get below that 305, and continue to push. We can see a nice little slide on Duolingo, especially if SPY pulls back. So what you want to start doing, guys, is making sure that if the market pulls back, names that have this kind of formation, they probably can get dragged lower. If SPY, all the Qs, all the indexes pull back, and there are names that broke or on the verge of breaking down, right? On the verge of breaking down, they're breaking down. We can't see a slide in those names, okay? So very, very important. Next name, ticker symbol CRCL, Circle. Again, Circle, similar pattern to Duolingo. You can see the exact same pattern, right? Same pattern, same formation, right? Leg lower, starting to break. But for Circle, I'm looking for that break. I want it to continue to break to come into this bounce territory. I want it to continue to break to come into this bounce territory. Once it does, we can consider some longs in this territory, which is that 101 and 108. 101 and 108 territory, 105 psychological levels between that. We want to pay attention to that territory. Again, that's a wide area. Just because it comes into 108, it doesn't mean you just buy. As it comes into it, you want to pay attention to the technicals and see what's going on in that territory, and then make a decision, right? And then make a decision. You're going to see some bullish activity in those territories. But if you do want to go short, right, then you might have room to short this as long as we stay. If we can hold below 125, we can hold below 125. There might be some room to short this thing if we can hold below 125, right? If we can hold below 125, there might be some room to short this. Let me show you where the 125 is. 125 psychological level. We did break down again, right? Can we hold below 125 and not use it as support, right? That can lead us a nice little push to the downside after breaking down on that channel. Next name is Baidu. Baidu, think of Baidu as the Chinese Google, right? Baidu is a Chinese Google. We're seeing a nice little technical pattern on Baidu, right? It depends on the sentiment on China, right? Do the Chinese names continue to get hit, or do they rally? If they start to rally because of the tariffs, we can't see Baidu. Right, we can't see Baidu bounce off this technical support territory. Well, how do we know there's support? We previously rejected multiple times, and now we're coming back into it. We're coming back into it after pushing into 149.50, close to 150. Right, there's 120 psychological level. So Baidu 120. You want to pay attention to 120 and this support territory. So let's see Baidu between that 118. We'll say 120 to 114. 120 to 114. Pay close attention to Baidu, especially if those Chinese names start to catch a bid off these lows. And we see a nice push to the upside. Baidu will probably be the one to take off, and maybe Alibaba might be the one as well, but I don't see anything technically sound on Alibaba. Next name is Coursera. Coursera, ticker symbol COUR. Coursera. I know it's a lot of names, guys. I know it's a lot of names, but you want to write these down. You want to put it through your blender, and I bet you can find 1 to 3 ideas based off of these names. Right? There might be a setup that you like. right? There might be a setup that you like, right? So make sure to do that and pay attention to that. Again, technically sound setup here. We can see these highs, previous highs, Coursera did announce a partnership with OpenAI, right? They do have some sort of integration, OpenAI coming soon, if not already available, right? So we can see rejection. We get earnings, nice little pop for earnings. We start to sell off, lower lows, lower highs, and now we're at this critical juncture. We're testing the support on Coursera, right? We're testing the support on Coursera and support of this channel as well. So Coursera, pay attention between that $9.40 and that $10. So $9.40 and $10, pay close attention to that. Again, there's another cheap name, right? Price-wise, another cheap name, good for a small account if it really starts to go. So pay attention to Coursera at that territory. We previously had a reaction in that territory. See if we can continue to push back the upside and to the upside. How much room does it have? It has a lot of room. It has a lot of room. It has room all the way to 62 and some change. Okay, 62 and some change. So Coursera, right? Pay attention to Coursera off of those lows, previous highs, turning into support. Pay attention to Coursera. Next name is Uber. We're seeing a nice little breakdown on Uber. So I like Uber at this between this 81 and 83 territory. I like Uber at this 81 and 83 territory. And the one thing I can see is Uber is retesting this breakdown. So Uber, we can see this with support. First touch, second touch, third touch, fourth touch, starting to break down. So Uber might be on the verge of retesting this territory here. If you can't get above it, start pushing to the downside. Got to be mindful of 88. If it can fall below 88, then those 82s and those low 80 numbers are going to start approaching quickly. So very, very interesting to see what does take place with Uber. If Uber fails to hold above 92.06 to be specific, and 92.79, we can see a nice little retrace reject. If it does decide to use this as support and it starts to bounce, see if it can get back at that 97. But again, Uber, it's either I like that breakdown, right? I like that breakdown to the downside, or basically the breakout. But the breakout will lead us into all-time highs. So again, let's see if the support can hold on Uber. If you like it off the support, 92.06, 92.79, by all means. But I think this breakdown, especially if SPY pulls back, guys, SPY pulls back, we can see a nice push to the downside. And Uber, I believe, is in the industrials. Uber is in the industrials, XLI ETF. So if the industrials pull back, more than likely Uber will pull back. So this might have to do with what the market decides to do in this case. As far as Micron, I did have Micron here. There's nothing there on Micron. Next name, Robinhood. Okay, so Robinhood, technically sound. Robinhood needs to continue to sell off. See if Robinhood can come into this territory here between 120 and 116. 120, 116. Pay attention to Robinhood. Downward compression. We're seeing a lot of these channels, guys. We're seeing a lot of these channels. When we talk about buying the dip, when we talk about all these different things that sound cool, right? It requires us to take risk when we feel uncomfortable, right? Buying the dip or buying the pullback or buying in crashes or buying in corrections, right? They're always going to be inconvenient. They're always going to feel uncomfortable. Okay, so that's something we need to understand. There's never going to be a dip that's going to be comfortable to buy. All right, that you're taking risk. You're taking risk. So you're never going to be 1,000% comfortable. So what you need to give you that comfortability or a sense of comfortability is see something on the technical side, see something on the bigger picture, environmental side. What are the indexes doing? What are the markets doing? Right? If everything is lining up, you have the confluence, you have the technicals, you have the environmentals, you have the fundamentals down packed, and you feel comfortable taking risk. All right? You can live with losing if it was calculated risk. If it's just reckless risk, you won't be able to hold your position. So again, Uber, instead of me shorting Uber, I would like to see if Uber can push into this, Robinhood, if it can come into that 120, 116 territory. 120, 116 territory, if we do pull back to that extent, on Robinhood, that leads us, again, guys, 32% down, 32%. Close to 40% off those all-time highs on Robinhood if we get to that 116 territory, 37%. All right, so anything 30 to 40% on a good name, I like that pullback. So I need Robinhood to continue to sell off. Ideally, if the market continues to sell off, as SPY gets below that 50, Robinhood starts pushing to the downside. Again, Robinhood is a very, very interesting name to pay attention to. Again, Robinhood, it's at all-time highs. If you're trying to get a super, super, super deep deal on Robinhood, right, you're going to have to wait for that 95, 96 territory, right? 95, 96 territory, right? If you can get into that territory, I'll be there for it. But I think buyers are going to try to protect this if we do decide to slide. And I have no interest in shorting a hood in this case, but I'll just let it slide and come to those levels. Another name here, is Match Group. So Match Group, I was seeing something on Match Group, so I don't have any technicals there to give you, so I'll just skip over that, but you can do your technicals there. Another name here is UPS. UPS. So UPS has been hammered for multiple months, multiple quarters, multiple years. But the one thing that I do see is just the fact that UPS has just been so oversold, right? So oversold, right? It's just so beat up. We're gonna take a look at UPS and Adobe on our higher time frame chart real quick. But I want to see if UPS can get back and hold above 85. A potential breakout. I like how it's kind of basing out here, guys. I like how UPS is basing out here. See if UPS can get his act together and get back above 85. Can UPS, hold above 85, continue to push? If you can hold above 85 and break this resistance, we break this nice little channel, we can see a potential pushback on UPS, push back the upside, right? It's technically oversold. It's been oversold for so long. We did get that nice little breakdown. So at least if UPS can get above 86.94, 87.50, that can be a nice little breakout we can see on the UPS into 89 or 90, 90 psychological level, right? See if UPS can get its act together and try to push it that 90. UPS, again, deeply oversold. It doesn't mean it won't get any lower, but there's a good chance buyers can start stepping in. If you can hold above 85, get that momentum, get above 86.94, 87.50, nice push on UPS, can potentially be upcoming. Next name, DocuSign, right? DocuSign, I like DocuSign here. DocuSign, why do I like it? Again, same thing, same formation, same technical formation. We're seeing DocuSign come into this territory. What territory is that? This 63 to 67, 63 to 67. Pay attention to that. 63, 67. What does that encompass? Between 63 and 67, always try to find those psychological levels. 65 is right there. 65 is right there. Right? So let's see if DocuSign come into 65. If it just blasts out of here because this downward compression, it breaks out, it might go. Right? It might go. If it come into 65, that'd be even better. But I can see DocuSign potentially trying to make a run at this resistance and trying to make a push to the upside. So pay attention to DocuSign in this after bouncing off that 63.22, 67.20. So two ways to enter: hold of 65 or breakout. Last time we came into this territory, look at this run. Right? Look at this run. Made a run. Boom. Okay. What happened before? Made another run. Boom. What happened before? Made another run. We came close to it. Boom. Right? So, it doesn't have to repeat exactly, but we know that history doesn't repeat. It often rhymes. So see if we can continue to start rhyming off of these zones. So pay attention to DocuSign, right? In that 63.7, 63.22, 67.20 zone. If we do break out of this downward compression, the bigger picture is this break, right? The bigger picture is this break. You can clearly see this break is brewing. This break is brewing, right? So if this break leads is foreshadowing this bigger break, yeah, DocuSign has a nice push. The upside, DocuSign's all-time high is at that 10, I believe it's at 108.94 if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if we can continue to push. Actually, DocuSign has a lot of ways to go. Okay, sorry, 314, right? 314 is the level on I'll say the 52-week high, or the multi-year high is 104, right? So again, rejection, break in 2024. Come back into it multiple times, holds, same area, might be providing the same opportunity on DocuSign if that can hold. Next name, Nutanix. Nutanix is the next name. Nutanix is at support. Nutanix is a storage name similar to NetApp Cloud Storage. Very, very innovative company. All right, we can see a nice little bounce. Nutanix support hold. Nutanix support hold on this channel. See if Nutanix can hold 65. Can Nutanix hold 65? You'll start hearing this name more often, guys. Nutanix will start see if it can hold 65. If it breaks below 65, I'll deem that a breakdown of this resistance. No respect for it. It might start to push it to 58 to take out these lows. If we can hold above 65 and treat this as support, we can see a nice little bounce on Nutanix. See if we can get above 70. We'll be at territory. Okay, 65 to 70. It's going to be that territory. If it hangs out in that territory, we might see a nice opportunity that presents itself. Nice little bounce off support. Break at that 70, push the upside back at that resistance up there. Next name, Visa. Visa and MasterCard, they move very similarly, but we can see Visa has been in this, trading in this box. Support, right? Now resistance. Now Visa came into these lows. This was between 331, 335, right? 331, 335 came into it, bounced, and now let's see if that bounce is legit for us to go, for us to come back. So this is the first bounce setup we have for swings. Everything is just off support. This is the first bounce setup. So Visa, right, came into support, bounced off support. Now I want to see if Visa can hold 340. Come back into 340. Come back into 340, right? So I like this nice little recovery here. Comes into this territory, bounces off it, comes in to 340, see if you can show some signs of life. Work its way back to the upside, that 350 territory. So Visa, pay close attention to Visa for this 40 retest. If 40 just holds, if we slice right through it, right, then you might have an opportunity to catch Visa off the support once again, right? So very, very important to assess that 40 area, see that there's an opportunity for you to capitalize off of there, and that 340 is going to be nice for that bounce. As far as MasterCard is involved, again, similar type of formation, right? Both those names, right? Financial names, right? Just chopping around. MasterCard coming to support as well. MasterCard might already be taking off. It might already be left the station if you're trying to get that dip buy, but if you're trying to get that continuation buy, right? If it can take out that 568, 569, more like 570 psychological level, right? There might be an opportunity there, but again, this is a continuation buy. Two different things. Continuation buy might be the way here. Again, see if you can get above these highs, right? Might be a little bit of a high, getting a little high, but if you believe in the momentum for us to break and take out these highs, there's a great area to get involved, right? That dip buy opportunity, of course, is here. So if you're paying attention to MasterCard, that's that dip buy. Support lines up with the zone. This thing is gone. This thing is gone already. Came to 544. It's at 561. Already made that nice little move to the upside. So interesting to see how that kind of plays out. 570 week critical. Do we have enough fuel? And this is all these names, guys. Do your due diligence. Go through the names. Rewatch. Right? They all present an opportunity. But what's going to be the kicker? The kicker is those opportunities. You got to align that with what the market is doing. So the things you see that are the names you see on this list that are at support. If the market pushes to the upside, more than likely it's going to lift those names off support. Okay? If we see names that were trading in the channel and they broke down and they're retesting for a further leg lower, if the market on Monday, Tuesday starts sliding to the downside, guess what? Those names that already broke down that are doing the retest are going to slide down as well. So you want to align. That's the X factor. The X factor is what SPY is doing, what the Qs are doing, what the Dow is doing. Depending on which name you're using, it might be heavily related to one of those indexes. All right. So if I'm trading Uber, I might want to tie that to XLI, right? And the Dow. If I'm trading Nvidia, I might want to do the QQQ, SMH. So you want to start doing those. If I'm trading Boeing, I want to pay attention to it doesn't mean disregard SPY. I want to pay attention to what the Dow is doing. I want to pay attention to what the industrials are doing. All right. So very, very important you correlate those two things, and that will give you the best bet. That'll give you the best bet, and that'll increase the chances of you winning in that scenario. So again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. That pretty much covers it. Of course, government shutdown, right? We don't know when it's going to be lifted. So a lot of the data that we're waiting for is going to continue to be on hold. And again, guys, make sure to tune into our live trading show every single day at 9:30. If you're interested, I'm going to post some swings that I do love in our Discord. Make sure to jump in our Discord. We have an awesome Discord, right? Our Discord, I live trade with our team every single morning, delay free, and everything you can imagine is there. We're incorporating swing trading in there as well to give more value to our team members. Our last two swings, JP Morgan, monster move, more than 70% in less than 24 hours. SoFi was the last one. So again, whatever I see, whatever I love, I'm not going to give you 1,000 ideas, but it's going to be high quality ideas, high winner ideas. That's available as well. So make sure to click the link in the description, click the link in the chat, pin to the chat to join our SPY Strikers Discord. What is the purpose of SPY Strikers? Is to unlock consistent profitability. How do we go about that? We use one ticker for 1 hour. We scalp SPY. I give you the tools, the resource you need to do so. What resource are we talking about? Live commentary, live entry, live exit, Q&A, 4+ hours of live trading. So we do this thing together. So it's not, I'm not sending you a screenshot of levels and saying, go here. No, we walk through this thing together, right? So we're just working through this thing together. And the cool thing is you have access to all the educational resources, some of the Shockwave 15 strategy, 1,000+ hours of live trading, and also you get to be involved in an awesome, dedicated, supportive community unlike any other. So make sure to click the link. Join us this week. Join us on Monday for us to capitalize off those moves. On Monday, we're going to start. That's when it starts. We're going to look to dominate this week. We're going to be prepared. We're going to put ourselves in the best position to take advantage of the volatility.